Hello class, this is Cleo Washington, your DFTG 1392 instructor. It's good to be back with you in a digital setting, so to speak. So we're going to jump right into it so we can go ahead and get you guys up to speed on the videos that I will be producing for the model. So we're going to pick up where we left off. You know, we jumped ahead in some of the previous courses and we skipped about 3 chapters because I wanted to do videos for you guys. So I think where we left off in terms of, you know, my videos was where we actually put the roofs on and we started getting into the structural items. Some of you have gotten the structural items into your models. However, after looking at some of your models, some of the structural items are actually not correct. So this video will be good for you guys, and we'll roll this out in the class on tomorrow so you guys can get your models up to speed. So we're going to have to double time it in order to get everything done over the next 4 weeks. So we'll probably cover 2 to 3 modules per class moving forward so we can get everything into the model, even what we missed over the past 3 weeks. So let's jump right into it. We're going to look at adding structural items, and that is located in chapter 8 in the 2012 book. I'm not sure exactly what chapter it is in your 2021 or 2019 book, whichever one you have. I think it's 2020. Yeah, it's 2020. So I'm using Rivet 2021. It's the latest, greatest download. I think you can upgrade and download 2021 if you'd like to utilize it as well. There are some things in it that's going to be very specific to the model. For example, we'll add some PDFs when we start doing the details, and I'll show you guys how to bring that in. And that is a major component as it regards how things are conducted in the industry. So that would be good for you guys to learn as well. So let's go ahead and let's look at part 1 of adding structural grids. It's part 1 of a 6-part series, okay? So let's go ahead and look at part 1. And I have my model just as it is when I left off. I didn't want to start by putting anything in, you know, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to lay the grids out. Some of you guys laid the grids out, but you have, you know, your numbers at the top and your alphabets at the side. Just make sure when you lay these things out that you lay them out according to how the book is saying to lay them out, because it will reference certain things once you move forward. And if you didn't lay it out like it's supposed to be laid out like the book is saying it should be laid out, then you're going to have some problems when you get to a point and the book says, okay, I need you to reference a specific view that you should have named and you didn't name it. So you have to make sure you're adhering to the book in order to matriculate through the model, okay? So let's go ahead and add some structural grids. The first thing we're going to do is on the architecture tab here, you want to click the grid button. And after you click the grid button, this activates the grid command. So what you want to do at this point, you want to tell it how you want to place the grid. So let's go ahead and click the pick lines icon right here. Okay, so click that, and let's go ahead and pick the centermost portion of the north wall on the east wing. So click right here, and there's your grid. It comes out as H. Okay, and I think we're going to start numbers. Generally, you'll put your numbers on the right side, alphabets on the top. Just depends. If you're working with someone on a project, you may want to see how they prefer it. But I generally like to keep the numbers on the right side and alphabets at the top. It's just a rule of thumb that I've set in place for me. Okay, so with that command still active, you know you want to go ahead and place a grid here as well. So just click the center line of that wall. And once it's there, you can take this and just drag it out. Okay, and let's go ahead and name these. Change this H, hit escape, get out of that command. Click the H and change it to number 1, okay? And change this guy to number 2. All right. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go back and click the grid command again and click this center line right here. And that will give us grid line number 3, okay? Click the centermost line of this wall as well. and that will give you grid line number 4. And Rivet will line these things up for you. And let's do one on the exterior wall right here as well. That is grid line number 5. There it is. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's click this center line right here. Okay. And let's draw a grid at 45 degrees. And just drop it right there. And then you want to do the same thing on this side. Later on in this chapter, we are actually going to place some structural components at these column lines here. So click grid again. Okay. Sorry, click grid again, and then you'll click right here, and you'll go 45 degrees here as well. Okay. So now that's your horizontal grid, and you want to take these and make sure that they kind of run all the way to the other side of the building, just so they can show that there are grids there. You may want to turn, some of these grid heads on, but in this case, you will not, okay? But just wanted to reiterate that fact. I know we covered it already. Just wanted to kind of reiterate that you can turn both sides of the grids on. But I like to see them on the outside of the building a little bit. That way I can kind of follow it across, and when we start putting columns in and things of that nature, you'll have something to reference there. So let's go right here as well, and let's make sure we line these up. Just pull them all the way across. You have to excuse me, I'm going a little bit too fast there. And it's not allowing me, it doesn't want to go. Sometimes you have to force it to do what you want. So pull this guy all the way across, it'll line up, it'll snap when you get to that point. And pull this line all the way across as well. All right, so there's your horizontal grids at the east wing, and you want to number them just like the book has got them numbered. And let's add a few more. We'll have some columns along this corridor right here. So you go back to the grid icon, and you click the pick lines command, and then you go here and you click here, okay? And you take this and you drag it out, and you'll have to name these. Sometimes they don't always come in sequence like you'd like, but that's okay. You can always just rename them. But if you can set it up, start off with 1, it will come in sequence, and then when you start adding additional columns like we're doing here, you'll have to go back and rename them. So let's look at this. I mean, this is fine, but I like to have a little bit more clarity in our drawings. Again, when drawings are complete, you're going to have thousands of different lines on the page. So you want to make sure that you make the drawings as readable as possible. So I like to keep things as clean as possible. So let's go ahead and select this guy and hit this little lightning bolt right here, and then this thing will pop out. But you want to take it and drag it out some to about right here, okay? And the way these column grids work, you have 1, 2, okay? And I'm thinking this guy right here would be 2.1. And this guy right here would be 2.9. And there is column line 3. And this one would be what? 3.1, right? 3.1. And it's good to be doing videos again, guys. So there it is. There's 3.1. And then you'll have 3.9 right here, right? 3.9. And then there is column line 4 and 5. So, you kind of think about this as a timeline as well, but a number line, so to speak. You'll have 1, 2, then here's 2.1, 2.9, 3, 3.1, 3.9, 4. If you had one closer to 4, it'd probably be 4.11 or 4.12 or 4.10 rather. Okay, so that's generally how you would lay that out. And again, you want to keep these things as clean and legible as possible. Okay, you also want to, display a little bit of symmetry to kind of, make things match from side to side, especially when you have a building like this and it's symmetrical on both sides. You want that to show and reflect in your column grid as well. So let's go ahead and add some vertical columns here. So again, same principle, you would select the grid button, and then you would select the pick lines icon, okay? And then you would select the center line of this wall, okay? And this one is coming in at 3.10, Okay, so let's go ahead and change this to A. All right. And we do have these corridor walls here. Okay, and if yours is a little bit different, that's okay as long as you have a corridor. It doesn't have to be exactly like I have it here. I know everybody's model, it has a little bit of differentiation in it, and that's how I determine to make sure you guys are not copying models around. Everybody's model is different, and I'm kind of getting the feel of everyone's modeling aesthetic. So let's go ahead and add another one here. Click the center line, and see this one is coming in at B now, okay? Let's add another one here. And we'll go ahead and drop one right here as well. And before we move forward, see how this one came in? Sometimes Rivet will do that, and you have to tell it that you want the display bubble to be on this side. So you would take that and turn it on and then drag it up and line it up with the other column line, the column bubbles. And then you would come here and turn this one off because we don't want it to show like that at that point, okay? So hit escape, hit the grid button again. Let's click the center line of this wall here. This one's coming in at D, okay? And here's another one here, coming in at E. All right, so same principle, you would select this guy here. And again, I like to bring them across the building so they can kind of show a little bit so you can have a reference when you are looking at this portion of the drawing. So let's go ahead and drag these as well. And I love the way Rivet snaps. It saves time to where you don't have to actually zoom in and, you know, snap on something. It does it for you. So it's very, very friendly when it comes to operability, and that is what saves time. And you know, in this industry, time is money. So here we go, and click this guy right here. I think he's already there. Okay, so we will add some columns here as well. So let's go ahead and click that column again, and you want to click offset here. Okay, we're going to offset it 6 inches, and you want to click the pick lines icon, and make sure that the line, you want to go ahead and pick the inside face of this radial wall, and make sure your line is inset 6 inches, not in the wall, not outside of the wall, but on the interior side of the wall. You click there, you turn your column bubble on here, which is going to be column bubble F. We'll change it to G, okay? Because we're going to add another column line F here when we add the structural grids here. So we'll change this one to G for right now. Okay, and as you can see, it's showing up as G on both sides. So now again, back to the clarity thing. Right now we have a little bit of visual conflict here. So let's click the little lightning bolt and pull this guy out and make sure it's not conflicting with the door in any way. Okay. And you want to do the same thing at the top. Just like that. Okay. So that's pretty much how you would add column grids. Okay. So we'll look at a bunch of different ways to do this. Right now we're just adding the structural grids. We'll add columns and we'll add framing and things of that nature. But if you were struggling with column grids, and I think most of you guys got it right, but I did notice that most of you guys did not adhere to how the book had it laid out. Again, we're building this model, it's book specific, so you want to make sure that you're laying things out according to how the book is laying it out. So you'll have opportunity to go back and review this video and to make corrections in your model if you have moved forward past this. You want to make sure that it's laid out exactly how the book has laid it out so we can reference things as we matriculate into later chapters, okay? So good stuff. That's adding structural grids. We'll look at adding structural columns next.